Today we are taking Qwen 3.5 series to the next level. We are not just running a model as we did in all of these videos, rather we are actually going to teach this zero point 0.8 billion model something new. You can use this video for any other Qwen 3.5 series model. In this video, we are going to fine tune this zero point 0.8 billion model on our own custom dataset, which I have just generated in this format by using ChatGPT and Anthropic's Claude combined. Now, I am going to tell you all about it in a step-by-step fashion. I will also be sharing all the commands, so sit back, relax and enjoy the show. This is Fahad Mirza and I welcome you to the channel. Please like the video and subscribe and consider becoming a member. Please also follow me on X if you are looking for AI updates without any hype. If you don't know what fine tuning is the process of taking a pre-trained model and training it further on your own custom dataset so that it becomes specific to your own domain and an expert in it. Think of it like hiring a smart graduate who knows a lot about everything and then sending them to a specialist course so they become an expert in one thing. We are going to use a technique called as LoRA or low rank adaptation, which is a clever way to fine tune a model without rewriting all of its weights. Instead of changing the entire model, which would require massive VRAM, LoRa injects small trainable matrices into specific layers and only train those, making fine tuning accessible even on a consumer hardware. So our domain today is Turkish kebabs. We have a custom data set of 200 high quality questions and answer pairs. For example, in this prompt I am asking it what is Adana kebab and how does it differ from other Turkish kebabs, and then completion is this where it is simply an answer. And similarly I have just used an AI model, actually multiple ones, to generate lot of questions answers, and all of these are very high quality, which means they are grounded and they are the actual information, and I want my model to be trained on this data set, which is a question answer pair. So by the end of this video, this Qwen 3.5 zero point 0.8 billion will be transformed into a genuine Turkish kebab expert. So let's get right into it. I am going to use this Ubuntu system. I have this GPU card NVIDIA RTX 6000 with 48 GB of VRAM, which should be plenty to go. So first up, I'm just going to create a virtual environment in Conda. And now let's install all the prerequisites, which are simply Torch, Torch Vision and few other libraries, which I will be explaining shortly as we go about the video. And I'm also installing Jupyter Notebook. Everything is installed. Now let's launch our Jupyter Notebook. So first up, let me quickly show you my VRAM consumption again. So this is what I am using, which I already showed you. Next up, I am going to import the unsloth, which I am going to use for this video. A huge shout out to the team unsloth for producing a real good library for fine tuning. There are other options too from Hugging Face and few others, and we already have covered each and every one of them. More or less, I would say they are similar. So if you want to adapt any other method, go for it. But I'm just going to go with unsloth for this one. And you can see that with the help of one sloth, I have downloaded and loaded the model to our GPU. And we are loading it in 16-bit precision, which gives us the best balance of accuracy and memory usage. And I will drop the link to this model and unsloth in also in the video's description. Okay, that is good. And by the way, this is my VRAM consumption at the moment as the model is fully loaded onto the GPU. And now, as I mentioned earlier, let's attach LoRa adapters. Now, let me first explain what exactly this cryptic cell content means. This is where the magic of low rank adaptation actually happens. So instead of fine tuning or retraining all 800 million parameters of this model, which would be very expensive and time consuming, LoRa freezes the entire original model and injects small trainable matrices of multi-dimensions, of course, or vectors into specific projection layers within the model. So here, this QProj, KProj, VProj, and OProj are the query key value and output projections inside the attention mechanism. These control how the model pays attention to different parts of the input. The gate proj and up proj, as you can see here, and down proj are inside the feed forward network, and these control how the model processes and transforms information. Then we have this r is equal to 16. As you can see here, this is the rank, and this is the size of the LoRa matrices. Higher rank means more capacity to learn but more VRAM. 16 is a solid sweet spot. I always use it. The result is that only a tiny fraction of parameters are actually trained, making this extremely efficient. I will be getting back to this LoRa alpha dropout bias shortly when we discuss the gradient during the training, and max sequence length is a context window. So just bear with me. Let me run this. And the LoRa adapters are attached in total model, which are trainable here are this much. Let's now download the data set. The model is done, adapters are initialized. Let's download our Turkish kebab dataset from my local dataset.jsonl file. So you can see that this is what the dataset looks like, and you can verify too that it looks correct before we start training. Always inspect your data before training. Garbage in, garbage out, and a bad dataset will produce a bad model no matter how good your training setup is or how huge your GPU card with VRAM is. I have done a lot of videos on dataset creation, dataset generation, best practices, and also with a lot of fine tuning, so you can search it on the channel. Okay, next up, let's format this data set. So this is actually quite important. The model was originally trained with a specific chat template format using special tokens like IM start and IM end to separate the user message from the assistant response. We need to wrap our dataset in exactly the same format so the model understands the structure of the conversation during fine tuning. This step converts each simple prompt and completion pair into the full formatted string the model expects. Getting this right is critical. Using the wrong chat template is one of the most common reasons a fine tuned model behaves strangely after training. Let's run this. And the data set is now formatted. Let's now go towards the training. So first up, I am just initializing this trainer here. You see, this is where I am initializing the trainer from the TRL library, and from there, after initializing it with these parameters, I am starting it and then telling it that the training is complete. Now let me run this and then I will start explaining what exactly is meant by all of these parameters and the previous ones which I mentioned. So this is where fine tuning is started. So let fine tuning run. Let me show you something very important. So you see, this is where our outputs will go, but let me first describe it. This is the model we are fine tuning, the source model. This is our data set, and this is a tokenizer we are using. And then we are going with this supervised fine tuning config. So now, first, what exactly is this SFT or supervised fine tuning? Super SFT stands for supervised fine tuning. It simply means we are training the model on examples which we already know the correct answer for. And you can see that the training is now started, and ETA is, it will adjust shortly. We will check it again. So now we know what SFT is. In that, we show it a question, we show it the ideal answer, and we train it to produce that answer. It is the most straightforward way to teach a model a new skill or domain. And there are a lot of other fine tuning techniques too. Then we have this SFT trainer from the TRL library that handles all the complex training loop logic for us. So we just pass our data set and hyperparameters and it does the rest. Now let's understand what exactly these parameters are. So this dataset text field, it tells the trainer which column in our dataset contains the formatted text. We named it text in previously when we were formatting it, so we point to it here. Then max sequence length is 2048. This is a maximum number of tokens per example. Any example longer than this gets cut off. 204 is plenty for our kebab Q&A pair, I believe. Then this one, per device train batch, this is how many examples the model sees in one go before updating itself. Higher is faster but needs more VRAM. Then we have this gradient accumulation steps. This is um, this primarily means that it waits and accumulate 4 batches before updating weights, which effectively gives us a batch size of 8 without needing 8 times the VRAM. And warm-up steps are just 10, which means it gradually increases the learning rate for the first 10 steps, so training starts smoothly without wild jumps. Then we have num train epochs 3, as you can see here. This is simply that it goes through the entire 200 record dataset 3 complete times. That's it. Logging step is just, prints the loss to screen every 5 steps so you can watch the model learn in real time. And this is, I'm hoping it is going to do, you see, 5 step, 10 step, 15 step. And this loss will keep coming down as it is at the moment. Then we have output directory where I said, this is where it is going to save training checkpoints in case something crashes midway. And you can of course restart it. Optimizer is this AdamW 8-bit, and this is algorithm that updates model weights. The 8-bit version does the same job as standard AdamW but uses half the memory, but in production of course uses the full one. Seed is just 3407. This is a fixed random starting point, so results are reproducible every time you run it and it doesn't just cram it or overfit it. Then we have this FP16 and BF16. This primarily simply means, it checks if your GPU supports BF16 and automatically picks the right precision format. On our A6000, let me also show you, the BF16 will be selected, which is a modern stable format for training. And you see that with fine tuning underway, it is still consuming under 3 gig of VRAM. Now you can also use CPU here, but you would need plenty of RAM. It might offload, it will be slow, but yes, you can still fine tune this model on CPU, but this model, not larger than that. Now coming back to this cell which we already have run, I promised that I'm going to explain this LoRa alpha. Before that, the reason why I kept it for the last is I wanted to dwell a few minutes on gradient. What exactly is a gradient? A gradient is simply a number that tells the model which direction to adjust its weights and by how much. After every batch, the model looks at how wrong its answer was, calculates gradients for every parameter, and uses those gradients to nudge the weights in the right direction. Training is basically just calculating gradients and updating weights thousands of times until the model gets good at the task. That is what gradient is. Now we already have seen what R is. LoRa alpha, it is a scaling factor that controls how strongly the low rank adaptation updates influence the final output. The rule of thumb is keep it equal to R. So R is equal to 16, LoRa alpha is 16. If you increase R, you can increase LoRa alpha proportionally. LoRa dropout means that dropout randomly switches off some neurons during training to prevent overfitting. We set it to 0, meaning we keep all neurons active. For a small dataset of 200 records, this is fine. Dropout is more useful very large datasets. Bias is none, which tells LoRa not to train the bias parameters in the layers. Bias terms are tiny, they're very tiny, and training them adds complexity without meaningful benefit. So leaving them frozen, especially in this case, is a standard practice. And you already know what max sequence length is, which is the maximum token length passed to the LoRa layer. Okay, so now you know everything about this fine tuning, and our fine tuning is still running. Let's check it out how many steps are done. So 40 are done, and now it is telling me that this is 43 out of 69 are done. At the moment it is showing me that it is less than 4 minutes 15 seconds left, but it can fluctuate. So let's wait to see how long does it take. And if this video is helping you, please again like the video and subscribe, and consider becoming a member. Please also follow me on X if you're looking for AI updates without any hype. Okay, let's wait for these 4 or 5 minutes. You see, it is increasing slightly and then it is coming back. And eventually the training is complete, and you can see that it took very little time. The data set was small, the GPU is good, and it says final loss 2.21 after only 200 records and 3 epochs is actually reasonable. It means that the model is learning, but hasn't fully converged yet. Or in simple words, it means or loss measures how wrong the model is. A loss of 0 would mean perfect predictions, which never happens in practice, never. For a small zero point 0.8 billion model on a small 200 record dataset, anything under 2.5 after 3 epochs means training worked. So, and if you want to push it lower, you have two options: either increase num train epochs from 3 to 6, 5, or expand the dataset from 200 to 500 plus records. But I think for now, I think we are good. I'm also just giving you some real world tips too. Next up, let's before I save this new model, let's test the previous one. So I'm just loading the actual previous model and then its tokenizer, and I'm just asking it what makes Adana kebab different from the Arfa or Urfa kebab. And now look at the response of the base model. And you can see that this response is sort of, I would say, quite generic. It is, it is not, I wouldn't call it a very perfect answer because it is just generic, vague, no cultural depth, no regional knowledge. It is just talking about both are popular, made with meat, taste delicious. That's it. So let's see what exactly is the answer of our actual model, and then I will also show you how we can save it. So let's run the same question. And there you go. Look at this answer. This answer is more grounded. It is more culturally nuanced and really knows what it is talking about in detail. Like it's grilled over wood. Sometimes it is served with lamb or beef, rustic. And this is the difference. The Dana is more rustic, while Arfa kebab is more seasoned and flavorful. So our fine tuning is working just with 200 ones. Now if you want to save it locally so that you could load it, use it later, you can use it like this, or you can even upload it to the Hugging Face with the similar command. And there you go. What the library Unsloth has done, it has merged the LoRa adapter weights back into the original base model weights, creating a standalone model file. And it, as you can see, it has done two things here. One is a LoRa, one is a merged. The tiny LoRa adapter alone is in the kebab underscore LoRa, and the full merged ready to deploy model is this last one. And the merged model is what you can serve with transformers or VLLM to serve your Turkish kebab expert. Just like we have served these models with VLLM. If you're interested, just check them out. So that's it. I hope that this was useful. I know that the video has become a bit longer, but I wanted to explain all of these concepts in as simple words as possible because these are not really rocket science. Fine tuning your own model on your own data, creating your own data set, it's not really a big deal. It's quite actually simple. And finally, as a sample, this is the prompt which I used to create my this data set. I just asked it, I just made it as detailed as possible. Then what topics to cover, additional topics, quality rule, and then start generating now and number of JSON L question answer pair which I wanted. That's it. Again, please like the video and subscribe and consider becoming a member. Member is what keeps the lights on the channel. Please also follow me on X if you're looking for AI updates without any hype. Thank you for all the support.